My name is Stella Baldwin. I'm 24 years old. 6 years ago, my father told me I was dead to the family. Not because I'd committed a crime, not because I'd hurt anyone, because I chose nursing school instead of law school. You're a disgrace, he said. My mother laughed. You'll crawl back the second you fail. I didn't fail. I didn't crawl back. I vanished. I changed my number. I moved. I worked night shifts at a hospital where no one knew the Baldwin name. I built a career they'd never see. Then, November 12th, 2025, 4 a.m. Unknown number. 9 calls. I let it ring. The voicemail was my mother's voice. Calm. Too calm. Stella, we need you to come home before your father sees the federal notice with your name on it. They didn't know what I'd become, but someone else did. Before I tell you what happened next, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if this story truly speaks to you. Where are you watching from right now? And what time is it where you are? Let me start from the beginning. It started on May 18th, 2019, my high school graduation day. We went to the Ocean Air, downtown Seattle. 2:30 p.m. Reservation under Baldwin Party of 4. White tablecloths. Ocean views. My father ordered for everyone without asking. He always did. The Georgetown acceptance letter sat on the table between us. Full tuition scholarship. Constitutional law track. Everything they'd planned for me since I was 12. My mother smiled at the waiter. We're celebrating. Our daughter's going to Georgetown Law in the fall. The Baldwin tradition continues. I didn't correct her. My father cut his steak with surgical precision. You'll start this summer. Pre-law program at the firm. 15 hours a week. It'll look excellent on your resume. I set down my fork. I'm not going to Georgetown. The table went silent. My mother's smile froze. Excuse me? My father's voice. Quiet, controlled, the kind of quiet that meant danger. I'm going to nursing school. University of Washington. I already accepted. I pulled the acceptance letter from my bag, set it on the table next to the Georgetown one. My father didn't touch it, didn't look at it. He looked at me. Georgetown accepted you with full tuition. The Baldwin tradition is law. You will not embarrass this family by becoming a nurse. It's not about embarrassing anyone. It's about what I want to do with my life. My mother laughed, actually laughed. What you want, Stella? Nursing is what people do when they can't get into law school. You got into Georgetown. You're throwing away. I'm not throwing away anything. I'm choosing a different path. My father put down his knife, folded his hands, looked at me like I was a client he was about to destroy in cross-examination. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to throw away that letter. You're going to call Georgetown tomorrow and confirm your acceptance. And we're never going to speak of this again. No. That one word. That's all it took. He stood up, dropped his napkin on the table. Then I'm not your father anymore. I stood too, met his eyes. Then I'm not your daughter anymore. I walked out, left both letters on the table, left them sitting there with their untouched dessert and their broken family fantasy. I thought they'd call, apologize, come to their senses. They didn't. The text messages started at 2:48 p.m. Not from my father, from my mother. Your health insurance terminates tonight. Your name has been removed from all family accounts. Do not contact your brother. This is what you chose. 14 messages in 2 hours. Each one colder than the last. Legal procedures, account closures, emergency contact updates. She wrote them like business emails. Subject line, daughter removal, effective immediately. At 6 p.m., my father called. I almost didn't answer. Stella, this is your father. You are dead to us. Do not contact this family again. You've made your choice. Live with it. The Baldwin name means something. You've disgraced it. Don't call, don't write. You are not our daughter. 41 seconds. That's how long it took him to erase 18 years. I saved the voicemail, screenshot every text. I didn't know why yet, just knew I should. At 8 p.m., I went back to the house on Mercer Island one last time. My key still worked. The house was empty. They'd made sure of it. 6 cardboard boxes in the garage, my belongings, already packed. A note on top, written on Baldwin and Associates letterhead. Your belongings. Take them tonight. The locks will be changed by morning. I walk through the house. Every photo of me, gone. Frames empty on the walls. My bedroom converted to a home office. Desk already installed. Computer set up. Like I'd never existed. In the last box, I found my high school diploma, torn in half. I took a photo. Didn't cry. Just thought, you'll regret this. I slept that first night in a Capitol Hill studio apartment, 416 Broadway East, apartment 2B, $950 a month. I'd signed the lease that morning before graduation because some part of me had known. No bed, no furniture, just a sleeping bag I'd bought at REI for $89 and the UW nursing school acceptance letter taped to the wall. My phone rang at 11:52 p.m. Unknown number. I answered. Silence. Then my mother's voice. You'll crawl back. They always do. I hung up. Blocked the number. Saved the recording. That was the last time I heard from them for 6 years. I didn't beg. I didn't explain. I vanished. 3 days later, I started as a certified nursing assistant at Swedish Medical Center. Floor 7, medical surgical. Night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., Sunday through Thursday. $18.50 an hour. The work was exactly what they'd predicted. Hard, dirty, thankless. I changed bedpans, cleaned up vomit, bathed patients who couldn't bathe themselves, got scratched by confused dementia patients, got yelled at by families who thought I wasn't doing enough. Where's my real nurse? One patient asked me. Why'd they send you? I smiled. I am a real nurse's assistant. Let me help you sit up. My first paycheck was $604.37 after taxes. I cried when I saw it. Not because it was small, because it was mine. Bus route number 49 took me home every morning at 7:30 a.m. I'd study on the bus. Nursing prerequisites, anatomy, physiology, chemistry. I had classes at 9 a.m. 3 days a week. I slept 4 hours a night, sometimes 5 if I was lucky. One night in August 2019, I helped an RN treat a stroke patient. The patient was a lawyer, not from my father's firm, but a partner at a competing practice. He looked at me, squinted. You look familiar, he said. I have that face, I replied. He didn't remember. But I knew. Seattle's legal community was small. I'd have to be careful. If you've ever been cut off from your family for choosing your own path, drop your city in the comments. I enrolled at Seattle University College of Nursing in fall 2020, kept working nights, studied days, Dean's List every semester, GPA 3.89. I earned $12,000 in scholarships, took out $38,000 in student loans, every penny documented, every payment my responsibility. Clinical rotations were brutal. Harborview Trauma, Swedish Oncology, UW Pediatrics. I saw things that changed me. Gunshot wounds, cancer in children, families saying goodbye, and I saw nurses, real ones, holding hands, giving bad news with kindness, standing between patients and death with nothing but competence and compassion. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a different path. This was the right path. June 14, 2022, NCLEX exam day. The test that would make me a registered nurse or prove my father right. The computer stopped at question 265, the maximum. It meant I'd either done very well or very poorly. No way to know until results came. I walked out, didn't pray, didn't hope, just waited. 48 hours later. Pass. I screenshot the confirmation, sent it to myself, wrote in my notes. They said I'd fail. I'm a registered nurse now. RN license number, RN001-84523. I sent them a card. just the facts. Dear Mom and Dad, I passed my NCLEX. I'm a registered nurse now. I thought you'd want to know. Love, Stella. It came back 3 weeks later, unopened. Handwritten note on the envelope. No longer at this address. Return to sender. I saved that too, added it to the folder. October 2022. Harborview Medical Center called. ICU position. Level 1 Trauma Center. The only one for adults and children in Washington, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho. Starting salary, $76,800. Night shift, 7 p.m. to 7 a.m., 3 times a week. My preceptor was Eleanor Graves, DNP, RN, nurse manager. 22 years in critical care. She was the first person who asked me the question, "Why don't you ever talk about family?" We were standing at the nurse's station, 3 a.m. patient stable. Coffee break. "There's nothing to talk about," I said. She studied me. "You're the best new grad I've hired in 10 years, but you're running from something." "I'm running towards something. There's a difference." She nodded. Didn't push. But she watched me after that. Not with suspicion. With something that felt like protection. November 8th, 2022. My first code blue. 73-year-old man, cardiac arrest. We worked him for 45 minutes. He lived. His wife hugged me in the hallway afterward. "You saved him. You didn't give up." I'd been a nurse for 4 months. I'd already saved a life. My father had been a lawyer for 30 years. I wondered how many lives he'd saved, how many he'd protected, how many he'd fought for when there was nothing in it for him. In December 2022, a patient came into our ICU, CEO of a major law firm, competing firm with Baldwin and Associates. 6 days in a medically induced coma after a car accident. When he woke up, I was there. "You saved my life," he said. "What's your name?" "Stella?" I didn't give my last name, didn't need to, but he remembered me. 2 years later, that detail would matter. February 2023. Eleanor pulled me aside after a shift. "I have a friend, legal nurse consultant. She needs an RN with critical care experience to review charts for injury cases. Interested?" "What's a legal nurse consultant?" "You review medical records, look for discrepancies, timeline issues, standard of care violations. Lawyers use your analysis for malpractice suits. Personal injury, elder abuse cases, pays $45 an hour, part-time. You'd work from home." I thought about it for exactly 3 seconds. Yes. That's how I started with Med Legal Associates, downtown Seattle office. First contract in February 2023, simple personal injury case, car accident. I reviewed the emergency room records, found timeline inconsistencies in the treatment documentation, wrote a 3-page summary. The lawyer won the case. My analysis was cited in the settlement negotiation. My rate went up to $65 an hour by August 2023. Then $85 in March 2024. Then $95 in October 2024. I wasn't trying to build a consulting practice. I was just good at seeing patterns, good at documentation, good at the truth. By September 2025, I'd reviewed 37 cases: personal injury, medical malpractice, nursing home neglect. Then Med Legal called with something different, something bigger. Federal case, DOJ needs chart reviewers, healthcare fraud investigation. They're specifically requesting ICU nurses. Can you handle it? What's the case? Nursing home chain, Medicare fraud, big money, tight timeline. You in? I said yes. I had no idea whose case I was walking into. But first, I need to tell you about the receipts. For 6 years, I kept everything. Not because I was planning revenge, because I needed to know it was real, that I wasn't imagining the coldness, the systematic erasure, digital folder, family, evidence, Created May 19th, 2019. Currently 239 files. 9 voicemails from my parents. All from 2019 to 2020. All hostile or dismissive. Each one transcribed, time-stamped, backed up to the cloud. 52 text messages from my mother. May through August 2019. Not, please come home. Not, we love you. Just procedural removal. Insurance termination. Trust fund deletion. Emergency contact updates. Instructions to my brother not to contact me. Every screenshot dated. Every message preserved. Then the social media evidence. 23 posts from my parents' accounts, 2019 through 2024. Family photos, holiday cards, vacation pictures. I was in the originals. I know because I had copies from before they blocked me. In the new versions, I was cropped out. Entire family photos re-edited, my arm visible at the edge of one Christmas picture. The rest of me gone. Instagram caption, December 25th, 2020. Blessed Christmas with our family. Philip, myself, and our son Grant. Grateful for our tight-knit 3. Hashtag family first. Hashtag Baldwin tradition. I was their daughter for 18 years. After May 18th, 2019, I became a tight-knit 3. Simple math. Thanksgiving 2022, they posted, grateful for our son Grant, newly admitted to Georgetown Law. The Baldwin tradition continues. I screenshot it. Added a note. I was accepted to Georgetown with full tuition. They disowned me for saying no. Now they celebrate Grant for saying yes. The tradition isn't law, it's control. 18 pieces of returned mail. Birthday cards, Christmas cards. My nursing school graduation announcement. My NCLEX pass notification. Job offer letter from Harborview. All returned, most unopened, some with notes. No longer at this address. Addressee refuses mail. In October 2024, I sent one last card, one final attempt. Dad, I'm now an ICU nurse at Harborview. I save lives every day. I thought you'd want to know the daughter you called a disgrace is doing exactly what you said I couldn't. Stella. Returned in November 2024. Note: addressee refuses mail. I didn't send another. I also kept the professional timeline. Every achievement, every credential, every patient saved. CNA certification, August 2019. Nursing School Dean's List. NCLEX, past June 2022. Harborview Hire, October 2022. ICU certification. Legal Nurse Consulting. 48 documented achievements. 2019 through 2025. Built without them. Earned without them. I kept all of it in one folder. Organized. Indexed. Backed up. Not for revenge. For protection. For proof. I recorded a voice memo to myself in May 2023, 4 years after they erased me. They posted another family photo from vacation. I'm cropped out. Saved. Time-stamped. I don't know why I keep these. Maybe one day it'll matter. In October 2025, I added one more file. DOJ consulting contract. I scanned it, uploaded it, tagged it. Professional, federal work. I had no idea how much it would matter. November 12th, 2025. 4 a.m. My phone started ringing. I was asleep. I'd worked ICU the night before. 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Got home at 8 a.m. Slept all day. Woke up at 3 p.m. Went back to sleep around midnight. The phone was on my nightstand. Do not disturb mode. But the calls broke through anyway. After the 5th repeat, the phone assumes emergency. 4:02 a.m. Unknown number. 20655500143. Seattle area code. I ignored it. 4:05 a.m. Same number. Ignored. 4:09 a.m. Same number. Ignored. 4:11. 4:14. 4:18. 4:19. 4:23. 4:26. 9 calls in 24 minutes. The ninth one left a voicemail. I lay there in the dark. Queen Anne apartment. $1,650 a month. View of the Space Needle. I'd earned this place. Earned this view. 6 years. No contact. Now 9 calls before dawn. I knew it wasn't good news. It never is. I played the voicemail at 6 a.m. My mother's voice. Marion Baldwin. I'd recognize it anywhere. But it wasn't the voice I remembered. This voice was calm. Too calm. Corporate. Like she was leaving a message for a colleague. Stella. It's Mom. We need you to come home. There's been a situation. Before your father sees the federal notice with your name on it, call me back. This number. Don't call the house. 22 seconds. That's all. I played it again. Federal notice. Your name. Before your father sees. What federal notice? I wasn't in trouble. I didn't do anything wrong. Unless. I opened my laptop, checked my email, found the DOJ case file I'd been working on. Case name, USA versus Cascade Senior Living, LLC, et al. I scrolled to the Defense Counsel information. Defense Counsel. Baldwin and Associates, LLP. Managing Partner. Philip J. Baldwin. Fuck. I sat there for 20 minutes. Didn't call back. Didn't panic. Just reconstructed the timeline in my head. October 15th. I accepted the DOJ consulting contract. Didn't check who the defense counsel was. Didn't think to check. It was just another case. November 2nd. I started reviewing patient charts. 850 records, 2 facilities, Bellevue and Redmond. November 5th. DOJ filed the expert disclosure list with the court. My name. Stella M. Baldwin, RN, BSN, ICU/critical care nurse, Harborview Medical Center. Legal nurse consultant. November 7th. Defense counsel received the disclosure. The law requires it. They got the list at 8 a.m. I can imagine what happened next. 9:15 a.m. Internal email at Baldwin and Associates. Urgent. Conflict check on expert witnesses. Priority. 11:30 a.m. Conflict check hit. Stella M. Baldwin. Relation to managing partner. 2 p.m. Closed door meeting. November 8th through 11th. Silence. Panic. Planning. November 12th. 4:02 a.m. My mother makes the first call. They didn't call because they missed me. They called because I was on the other side of my father's biggest case. And they were terrified. I didn't call back. Not yet. At 8 a.m., I called Thomas Reed, director at MedLegal Associates, the man who'd hired me for the DOJ case. Thomas, did defense counsel raise any conflicts about me? Silence. Then, funny you ask. Got a weird call yesterday. They wanted to confirm your full legal name, asked if you were related to anyone at their firm. I said no comment. Refer to DOJ Stella. What's going on? They sounded panicked. Philip Baldwin is my father. He disowned me 6 years ago. I haven't spoken to him since. Jesus Christ, does DOJ know? They will. Now. At 9:07 a.m., I called Sarah Vance, DOJ trial attorney, healthcare fraud unit, the lawyer running the Cascade case. The call lasted 43 minutes. I told her everything. Timeline, proof of no contact, phone logs, blocked numbers, returned mail, 6 years of evidence. Let me be clear, Sarah said. You did nothing wrong. You were hired before you knew the conflict. Your work is solid. But this, Stella, this is a gift. A gift? His firm will have to disclose. The client will panic. Settlement pressure just tripled. You staying on the case? Should I withdraw? Why? You haven't done anything improper. The conflict is his, not yours. We'll support you. If they want to challenge you, they'll have to explain to the judge why his personal family estrangement is more important than his client's defense. Let them try. What if he claims I coordinated this to sabotage him? Did you? No. Then you have nothing to worry about. Do you have proof you didn't know about the conflict when you accepted the assignment? I have the acceptance email, the contract, everything time-stamped. He didn't know I was a legal nurse consultant. Didn't know I was even alive as far as I can tell from the returned mail. He erased me so thoroughly he didn't track my career. That's his ethics violation, not mine. Sarah was quiet for a moment. Then, Stella, I have to ask, is there any possibility he'll claim you coordinated this to sabotage him? I have 6 years of receipts proving he erased me. If he wants to claim I'm out for revenge, I'll bury him with evidence that I didn't exist to him until I became inconvenient. She laughed. Actually laughed. I believe you. Stay on the case. We'll handle any motions they file. This just got very interesting. After we hung up, I looked up the emergency motion Baldwin and Associates had filed. November 10th, 4:52 p.m., 2 days before my mother's call, before they even contacted me. Defense counsel requests 30-day extension due to unexpected complications in expert review process requiring additional consultation with client. No mention of the conflict. No disclosure. Just vague language about complications. They were trying to buy time. Time to make me withdraw. Time to convince the client everything was fine. Time to control the narrative before it exploded. I searched for Cascade Senior Living, found their SEC filings. They were planning an IPO, spring 2026, valuation target $1.2 billion, private equity owned. Ridgeline Capital. They'd bought Cascade in 2021 for $380 million. IPO would give them an $820 million profit. But the SEC filing had a warning. Pending litigation outcome is material to company valuation. Adverse judgment or settlement exceeding $50 million would trigger debt covenants and delay public offering. Legal fees to Baldwin and Associates, $2.8 million in 2023, $3.1 million in 2024 year to date. Biggest healthcare client, 32% of the firm's healthcare revenue. My father's managing partner position came up for revote in January 2026. If he lost this client, the other partners would vote him out. His compensation was tied to his book of business. Lose Cascade, lose power. I did the math. He wasn't afraid of losing the case. He was afraid of the client discovering his conflict. Afraid of the headline, attorney disowned daughter, now she's expert witness against his client. No client would trust him after that. His reputation would be over. His career would be over, just like he'd told me mine would be. I saved the voicemail. Didn't call back, didn't need to, because this time I wasn't the one who needed them. October 15th, 2025. The day I didn't know would change everything. Thomas Reed called. Stella, we've got something big. Federal case. DOJ Healthcare Fraud Unit. They need legal nurse consultants to review patient charts. Nursing home chain, Cascade Senior Living, 6 facilities. Allegations of Medicare fraud, upcoding, falsified records, unnecessary services. Estimated fraud, $380 million. What do you need from me? Chart review, 850 patient records. Focus on 2019 through 2021. You'd be looking for discrepancies between documented care and billed services, patterns suggesting fabrication, timeline issues, standard of care violations. Rate is $95 an hour. Estimate 100 to 120 hours. Tight timeline. You in? Who's defense counsel? Some local firm, Baldwin something. You know them? I paused. 2 seconds. No. Never heard of them. Technically true. I didn't know them anymore. The assignment was straightforward. 850 charts from 2 facilities, Bellevue Meadows and Redmond Heights. I'd review documentation, flag inconsistencies, build timelines for specific patients. By November 10th, I'd logged 94 hours, found 327 discrepancies, 89 patients with impossible service billings, 12 cases with potential forged signatures. One case stayed with me. Patient number 528, elderly woman, died of sepsis in March 2020. Her chart showed received IV antibiotics 3 times a day for 7 days. But the pharmacy had no orders, no medication administration records, no nursing notes documenting the IV's services billed. $847 per day for IV antibiotic therapy. 7 days. $5,929 total. Services actually provided? None. She died of an infection that was never treated. That's when I understood. This wasn't just fraud. This was people dying because care was billed but never delivered. If this went to trial, I'd have to testify. Public testimony. My name, my credentials. Stella Baldwin, RN. On the witness stand. I thought, fuck it. My credentials are real. Let them deal with the consequences. On November 5th, DOJ filed the expert disclosure list. 8 experts total, 3 RNs, 2 MDs, 1 billing specialist, 1 forensic accountant, 1 administrator. My name, Stella M. Baldwin, RN, BSN, ICU/critical care nurse, Harborview Medical Center, legal nurse consultant. Scope of testimony, chart review, standard of care analysis, nursing documentation practices. Sarah Vance emailed me that afternoon. Stella, your disclosure is filed. Defense will receive copy tomorrow. Expect contact for deposition scheduling within 2 weeks. You're solid. This case needs your voice. November 7th, 8 a.m. Baldwin and Associates received the disclosure. I imagine my father reading it. Maybe he didn't read it himself. Maybe an associate flagged it during the conflict check. Stella M. Baldwin, relation to managing partner? However it happened, they knew by 11:30 a.m. I wasn't there. I didn't see his face. But I knew him well enough to imagine it. The realization, the calculation, the panic. The daughter he'd erased was about to become his biggest problem. November 12th, 8 a.m. I called Thomas. Did defense counsel raise any conflicts about me? Funny you ask. That's when I learned they'd called MedLegal the day before. November 11th, 3 p.m. Questions about my full legal name, whether I was related to anyone at their firm. Thomas had given them nothing. No comment. Refer to DOJ. Professional. Correct. But they'd asked, which meant they knew. At 9:07 a.m., I called Sarah Vance. I told her everything. The disownment. The 6-year silence. The returned mail. The proof I had no idea my father was defense counsel when I accepted the assignment. Do I need to withdraw? I asked. Why would you? You didn't create this conflict. He did. 6 years ago, when he chose to erase you from the family. That's his ethics problem, not yours. What if he tries to disqualify me? Let him file the motion. He'll have to admit in open court that he disowned his daughter. Then explain why his personal family drama should disqualify a qualified expert witness. The optics alone. She paused. Stella, do you want to stay on the case? I want to tell the truth about what I found in those charts. Then stay. We'll support you. That afternoon, I did what I do best. I documented. I pulled up every piece of evidence from the family evidence folder. 239 files. I organized them chronologically. Voicemails, texts, photos, returned mail, social media erasures. I created a timeline. Family estrangement documentation. Stella M. Baldwin, 2019 to 2025, May 18th, 2019. Disownment voicemail. Text messages terminating insurance, removing from family accounts. May 19th, 2019. Returned to family home to collect belongings. Locks changed next day. May to August 2019. 52 text messages from mother. All procedural removal. 0 reconciliation attempts. 2019 to 2024. Returned mail. 18 pieces. Birthday cards. Christmas cards. Achievement notifications. All returned unopened or with addressee refuses mail. 2019 to 2024. Social media erasure. 23 posts, family photos cropped, holiday cards listing tight-knit 3, 0 mention of daughter. October 15th, 2025, accepted DOJ consulting assignment. No knowledge of defense counsel identity. November 5th, 2025, name disclosed as expert witness. November 7th, 2025, defense counsel received disclosure. November 11th, 2025, defense counsel contacted MedLegal asking about my family connections. November 12th, 2025, mother called 9 times, left voicemail. Before your father sees the federal notice with your name on it. Timeline complete. Evidence organized. Ready for whatever came next. I created one more document. Statement of Professional Integrity. 2 pages. I am Stella Baldwin, RN, BSN. I earned this title without family support, family money, or family connections. My credentials are mine. My work is mine. And my testimony will be the truth, regardless of who it inconveniences. I saved it. Didn't file it yet. But it was ready. For court, for media, for history. November 12th, 2 p.m. I met Eleanor at Cafe Allegro in the University District. I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. Stella, I've known you 3 years. You're the most ethical nurse I've ever worked with. Don't let them make you compromise that now. You didn't create this conflict. They did, 6 years ago. What if they try to discredit me? Then you show them 6 years of receipts proving you earned every credential without them. Your work speaks for itself. You've saved lives. You've upheld standards of care. You've told the truth in 37 legal cases. This is number 38. Nothing's different except who's on the other side. She leaned forward. Stella, I need to tell you something. Remember that CEO from 2022? The one who almost died in our ICU? The car accident. 6-day coma. His name is Charles Bennett. He's on the board of the Washington State Nursing Association now. He's been asking about you for a nomination. Rising Star Award in Clinical Practice and Ethics. The ceremony's in February. He remembers me? He says you saved his life, that you stayed with him every shift until he was stable. He wants to sponsor your nomination. If your name goes public in this case, and it will, you'll have institutional backing. You're not alone. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Not quite hope. More like recognition. Being seen. Being valued for what I'd actually done. Not what family name I carried. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me. You earned it. Now go do what you do best. Tell the truth. Let the chips fall. November 13th. Federal Building. U.S. Attorney's Office, 700 Stewart Street. I met with Sarah Vance and Andrew Marshall, senior trial attorney. They wanted to review my chart work, make sure I was comfortable with potential deposition and trial testimony. Your analysis is excellent, Andrew said. Clear, detailed, no overreach. You stick to the facts. That's exactly what we need. Sarah pulled out a document. We're filing a brief tomorrow. It makes clear that any conflict belongs to defense counsel, not you. You were hired legitimately. Your work is solid. If they want to challenge you, they'll have to do it on the merits, not on family drama. What if they try to withdraw from the case? We'll oppose. Too late in discovery. It would be prejudicial to the government. They've had this case for 2 years. They can't bail now because they failed to run an adequate conflict check. Can they force me to withdraw? On what grounds? That you're related to opposing counsel? That's not disqualifying for an expert witness, especially when the relationship is… She checked her notes. Dead to us, as of 2019. Their words, not mine. Andrew leaned back. Stella, here's what's going to happen. They'll file the conflict disclosure with the court, required by ethics rules. The client will see it. The client will panic. A $250 million fraud case, and their defense attorney has a family member on the other side? Even with no contact, it looks terrible. What about me? You? You'll be fine. You've done nothing wrong? Keep your head down. Do your job. Let us handle the legal chess match. And if anyone questions your integrity, you pull out that 6-year paper trail and bury them. Before I left, Sarah said, "One more thing. We subpoenaed firm communications about conflicts. If your father knew and didn't disclose to the client immediately, that's sanctionable. We'll know by next week whether he tried to hide it." "You're investigating him?" "We're investigating whether defense counsel has been operating in bad faith. Your situation gave us probable cause. The court takes conflict issues seriously." I walked out of that building feeling something I hadn't expected. Not revenge, not triumph, just clarity. I'd done my job. They'd failed to do theirs. And now the system would sort it out. November 14th. My ICU team found out. Eleanor told them. With my permission. I didn't want to hide it. Didn't want to pretend it wasn't happening. The response wasn't what I expected. They rallied. Nora, one of the senior ICU nurses, started a legal fund. "In case you need a lawyer, in case this gets ugly, we've got your back." By end of shift, they'd collected $3,200. James, the respiratory therapist, offered to write a character letter. "I was there the night you coded that kid for 45 minutes. I watched you refuse to give up. Your credentials speak for themselves. Let your dad try to discredit that." 12 colleagues, 12 offers of support, character letters, deposition attendance, testimony if needed. Eleanor handed me an envelope. "These came for you. From patients." 8 letters, families of patients I'd saved, people whose lives I'd touched. One from the mother of a pediatric trauma patient from 2023. "Stella Baldwin stayed with my daughter for 12 hours straight. She didn't leave until she was stable, even when her shift ended, even when they told her to go home. That's who she is. That's who she'll always be." I read them all. Didn't cry. But for the first time in 6 years, I felt something I'd thought was gone. Not family, not the family I was born into, but family. The kind you choose, the kind that chooses you back. "This is my legacy," I said, "not his name, my work." Eleanor smiled. "Damn right it is. If you've ever felt more supported by the people you chose than the family you were born into, comment, I stayed gone." November 15th through 18th. I spent 4 days preparing. I organized every piece of evidence, created exhibits, labeled everything. Exhibit A, voicemail, May 18th, 2019, 6:34 p.m. Father's voice, "You are dead to us." Exhibit B, text messages, May to August 2019, 52 total, documenting systematic removal from family. I worked with a DOJ paralegal. We built a timeline. We documented everything. Proof of no contact. Proof I didn't know about the conflict. Proof my work was independent and professional. 358 pages total. Indexed, cross-referenced, court-ready. On November 18th, I submitted it to DOJ, made 3 copies. One for them, one for my records, one for backup. I also finalized the Statement of Professional Integrity. 2 pages. Opening line. "I am Stella Baldwin, RN, BSN. I earned this title without family support, family money, or family connections. My credentials are mine. My work is mine. And my testimony will be the truth, regardless of who it inconveniences." I didn't file it yet, didn't need to yet, but it was ready. For court, for media, for the moment when they tried to say I wasn't qualified, wasn't credible, wasn't worthy. I had 6 years of proof that I was. November 20th. A text message. Different number than the 4 a.m. calls. Another burner phone. "Your father wants to meet. Thanksgiving, family home, 2 p.m. Please, this has gone far enough." I didn't reply for 6 hours, then, "I'll be there, 2 p.m. sharp, don't be late." My mother responded immediately. "Stella, please, we need to talk, as a family." I replied, "We're not a family, we're people with a conflict of interest. I'll see you at 2 p.m., come prepared." Thanksgiving Day. November 28th, 2025, 2 p.m. I drove to Mercer Island. 4482 West Mercer Way. The house I'd grown up in. The house I'd been erased from. I wore my Harbor View scrubs. Name badge visible. Stella Baldwin, RN, BSN, ICU. No makeup, no jewelry, just credentials. Because this wasn't about them accepting me, this was about them facing what I'd become without them. I rang the doorbell. My mother opened it. She looked older, tired. Like the 6 years had cost her something too. Stella, thank you for coming. I didn't hug her, didn't smile, just walked in. The living room, the same room where, 6 years ago, they'd told me I was dead to them. My father sat on the couch, same couch. He stood when I entered, extended his hand. I didn't take it. I sat in the chair across from them, put my evidence binder on the coffee table, didn't open it, just left it there, visible. Stella, my father began. We need to discuss this situation. It's complicated. Complicated for whom? Your involvement in this case creates difficulties. Difficulties for whom? I repeated. I'm doing my job. You're doing yours. The difficulty is that you didn't expect the daughter you erased to become someone whose expertise could affect your career. My mother tried. That's not fair. Fair? I cut her off. You called me dead. You returned my mail. You cropped me out of family photos. For 6 years. Now you need something. That's not complicated. That's consequence. My father shifted tactics, the lawyer voice, controlled, professional. Stella, we made mistakes. We reacted poorly to your decision, but this case, if you testify, it could destroy my career, destroy the firm. We're asking you to consider withdrawing as an expert witness. For the family. We're not a family. You made that clear 6 years ago. We want to fix that. We want you back. We're prepared to. He paused. We'll pay off your student loans, give you $100,000. You can come back to the family. We'll support you. We were wrong. I almost laughed. You think you can buy integrity? I don't want back into a family that only values me when I'm useful. My loans are down to $31,200. I'm paying them myself. Because that's what I do. I handle my own business. Unlike you, who needs his daughter to save him from his ethical failure. My mother was crying now. Real tears or performed tears, I couldn't tell. How can you be so cold? We're your parents. I opened the binder, pulled out one piece of paper, the voicemail transcript. May 18th, 2019. I put it on the table between us. You taught me to be cold. I learned from the best. Now you're upset that I'm good at it. My father read the transcript, his own words. You are dead to us. He looked up. We were angry. We didn't mean. You meant it. The text messages prove it. The returned mail proves it. The social media posts prove it. You didn't just cut me off. You erased me. Systematically, deliberately, for 6 years. I stood up. I didn't come here to negotiate. I came to make something clear. I don't want anything from you. I didn't create this conflict. You did. When you disowned me for having different values. I became an expert witness because I'm good at my job. Not to hurt you. You hurt yourself by tying your career to a client whose fraud I can prove. That's not my problem. That's yours. My father stood too. So that's it? You'll testify? Destroy everything I've built? I'll testify to the truth. If that destroys what you built, maybe what you built wasn't worth protecting. I save lives. You protect people who defraud the elderly. We both chose our paths. I'm proud of mine. Are you proud of yours? I picked up my binder, walked to the door. My father called after me. What do you want? What will it take? I turned, looked at him, really looked at him. I don't want anything from you. I wanted a family that loved me unconditionally. You couldn't give me that. So I built a life without you. A good life, a meaningful life. And now you need me to compromise that to save you from consequences you created. The answer is no. I left the binder on the coffee table. All the evidence, all the proof. Let them read it. Let them see exactly what they'd done. I walked out, got to my car, sat there, breathed, didn't cry, didn't feel triumphant, just finished. My phone rang. Eleanor. How'd it go? I told them the truth. They didn't like it. But it's not my job to make them feel better. It's my job to do what's right, and I will. December 2nd, 2025. Baldwin and Associates filed the mandatory conflict disclosure with the court. Defense counsel hereby discloses that one of plaintiff's expert witnesses, Stella M. Baldwin, RN, is the biological daughter of firm managing partner. Counsel and witness have had no relationship or contact for approximately 6 years. This relationship does not create a conflict of interest affecting defense representation. Vague, minimal, defensive, public record. December 2nd, 4:30 p.m. Cascade Senior Living, CEO. Gerald Morton called an emergency board meeting. Topic: outside counsel conflict issue. The firm had 24 hours to explain why they hadn't disclosed earlier. December 3rd, Cascade sent a letter to Baldwin and Associates. Our board has serious concerns about when your firm became aware of this relationship and why disclosure was delayed. Given the stakes of this litigation and our impending public offering, we require full transparency regarding any potential compromise to our defense. Response required by December 6th. December 4th. Bloomberg Law picked up the story. Seattle firm faces conflict questions in $380 million fraud defense. The article mentioned unusual family relationship between defense counsel and government expert witness. Legal Twitter exploded. Ethics professors weighed in. Bar Association started paying attention. December 5th through 8th. The Media Cascade. Seattle Times, December 6th. Healthcare fraud case reveals family rift, attorney's daughter. Now expert witness against his client. The article told the whole story. Georgetown rejection, nursing school choice, disownment, 6 years of silence, expert witness disclosure. The irony too perfect for journalists to ignore. Court records reveal a stunning family dynamic in the Cascade Senior Living fraud case. The lead defense attorney disowned his daughter 6 years ago for choosing nursing over law school. Now, that daughter, an ICU nurse and legal consultant, is serving as an expert witness for the Department of Justice against his biggest client. King 5 News picked it up December 7th. ABA Journal, December 8th. Legal Ethics Blog. National coverage. Suddenly everyone knew. The story people couldn't stop sharing. She chose nursing over law. Her father called her a disgrace. Now her nursing expertise could end his career. I gave no interviews, no comments. Refer to DOJ for everything. But the story didn't need my voice. It had the court documents, the returned mail, the social media erasures. 6 years of receipts that told themselves. December 8th. Washington State Bar Association opened an inquiry. Failure to timely disclose material conflict of interest. Formal letter sent to Philip J. Baldwin. Career threat level, severe. December 10th. Cascade's new attorneys contacted DOJ. Client wishes to discuss settlement. Translation: the conflict story destroyed their defense credibility. Trial was too risky. IPO timeline too tight. Settle fast. Sarah called me that afternoon. They're offering $85 million. I'm pushing for $120 million plus 5-year monitorship. We have all the leverage. Your testimony would bury them, and they know it. Do I need to testify? Probably not. They'll settle before we get to trial. Your credentials and the media coverage did the work. They can't risk a jury hearing about elderly patients dying while the nursing home billed for care that was never provided. Especially with you, the disowned daughter turned ICU nurse, on the stand explaining it. December 12th. Cascade Senior Living fired Baldwin and Associates. Hired new counsel, national firm. December 18th. Settlement finalized. $115 million to the government. 5-year monitorship. Compliance overhaul. Press release. Company takes responsibility, commits to reform. My father's name wasn't mentioned, but the legal community knew. He'd lost his biggest client, 32% of firm revenue, gone. The managing partner vote was scheduled for January 15th, 2026. The outcome was already decided, December 20th. The ICU threw me a small celebration, not about winning against my father, about upholding integrity under pressure. Eleanor gave a speech, 16 people in the break room, Harborview Medical Center, the place that had become home. Stella didn't just review charts, she protected vulnerable patients who were defrauded. She upheld the standard of care when powerful people tried to obscure it. That's nursing, that's what we do. And she did it perfectly. They gave me a framed photo of the ICU team, a card signed by 40 hospital staff members. You showed us what it means to stand for something. Thank you for being one of us. Nora handed me another envelope. This came to the unit today. Letter from Washington State Nursing Association. Nomination for Rising Star Award in Clinical Practice and Ethics. Sponsored by Eleanor Graves, DNP, and Charles Bennett, DNP, ceremony, February 2026. I read it twice, then looked up at Eleanor. You did this? No, you did this. We just made sure people knew about it. For the first time in 6 years, I let myself feel it. Not pride exactly. Something quieter, something earned, worth. January 2026. The offers came. DOJ. 3 more healthcare fraud cases. Rate increased to $125 per hour. Your work on Cascade was exceptional. We need your expertise. MedLegal Associates. Partnership offer. Equity stake in the firm. Harborview. Promotion to charge nurse. ICU. $92,000 annual salary. University of Washington School of Nursing. Guest lecture invitation. Ethics in Healthcare. When truth costs everything. February 20th, 2026. I accepted them all, everyone. Because I could. Because I'd earned the right to. February 14th, 2026. Valentine's Day. My phone rang. Family landline. The number I'd had blocked for 6 years. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. Stella. It's Mom. Silence. I waited. Your father. He stepped down as managing partner. The firm is restructuring. He's not doing well. I thought you'd want to know. More silence. And Stella. I'm sorry. For everything. I know you won't call back, but I needed to say it. You were right. About all of it. You became everything we said you couldn't, and we lost you because we couldn't see it. I'm sorry. The voicemail lasted 1 minute and 48 seconds. I listened to it once, saved it, didn't call back. I put that voicemail right next to the one from May 18th, 2019. You are dead to us. The book ends, beginning and end. I didn't need revenge. They destroyed themselves. All I did was exist, competently, publicly, and that was enough. February 15th, 2026. Moving day. New apartment. Queen Anne. 2 bedrooms. 800 square feet. View of Elliott Bay. $2,200 a month. I could afford it now. Promotions, consulting, charge nurse salary, legal work. I'd earned this view. That night, I had a housewarming. 23 people. Not my parents, not my brother, not blood family. Eleanor, the ICU team, 3 patients I'd saved and their families. Sarah Vance from DOJ, my nursing school mentor. Thomas from MedLegal. 23 people who'd chosen me, who I'd chosen back. Eleanor raised a glass. To Stella, who taught us that family isn't who you're born to. It's who shows up, who supports your truth, who celebrates your success without needing credit, and who stands with you when the world tries to make you small. We're your family, and we're so damn proud. Later that night, after everyone left, I stood at the window, looked out at Elliott Bay, the water, the lights. 6 years ago, I'd slept on a floor in a Capitol Hill studio with nothing but a sleeping bag and a rejection letter from my parents. Tonight, I had a home, a career, people who valued me for who I was, not whose daughter I was supposed to be. I texted Eleanor. "Thank you for seeing me when my own parents couldn't." She replied immediately, "They didn't deserve to." February 20th, 2026, University of Washington, Health Sciences Building, Auditorium, 150 nursing students, 20 faculty members. Guest lecture, Ethics, Integrity, and the Courage to Stand Alone. I told them the story. Not with bitterness, just facts. The choice, the disownment, the erasure, the receipts, the collision, the conflict, the public reckoning, the settlement. But mostly, I told them about the patients, the charts, the fraud, the elderly people who died because care was billed but never delivered. Patient number 528, I said, 78 years old, sepsis. The chart said she received IV antibiotics 3 times a day for 7 days. The pharmacy had no record, no orders, no medication. She died of an infection that was never treated, while the facility billed Medicare $5,929 for antibiotics she never received. That's why I testified, not to hurt my father, not for revenge, but because the truth mattered more than my comfort, more than my family, more than avoiding conflict. I looked out at the students, some of them taking notes, some of them just listening. Here's what I learned. They threw me out for choosing nursing over law. They said I'd be a disgrace, that I'd fail, that I'd crawl back begging. I didn't. I built a career on competence. I earned credentials they couldn't give or take away. And when the truth mattered, my nursing expertise became the thing they feared most. Not because I weaponized it, but because they couldn't control it. They couldn't control me. And that's the lesson. Your worth isn't defined by who claims you. It's defined by what you earn, who you serve, and whether you choose truth when it costs you everything. I chose truth, I chose nursing, and I'd do it again, every single time. 3 minutes of standing ovation. Afterward, Eleanor was waiting in the hallway. "You killed it," she said. I smiled, a real smile. First time in 6 years I didn't feel the weight. I just told the truth. That's all you ever did, and it was enough. The quote went viral. TikTok, Instagram, nursing forums everywhere. They threw me out for choosing nursing over law. And when the truth mattered, my nursing expertise became the thing they feared most. Not because I weaponized it, but because they couldn't control it. 2.3 million views on TikTok, 890,000 likes on Instagram, nursing students sharing it, ICU nurses, ER nurses, people who'd been told their work didn't matter, that they'd chosen wrong, that they should have been doctors or lawyers or something more. The comments filled with stories. My parents disowned me for choosing teaching. Thank you for this. I left law school to become a paramedic. My father hasn't spoken to me in 8 years. Your story gives me hope. I'm a nurse. My family still doesn't understand why, but I do, and that's enough. I didn't respond to the comments, didn't need to. The story spoke for itself. I'm 24 years old now. February 2026. I'm an ICU charge nurse at Harborview Medical Center. I make $92,000 a year. I have $28,000 left in student loans. I pay them myself. Every month. On time. I'm a legal nurse consultant. I review charts for DOJ healthcare fraud cases. I testify to the truth. I get paid $125 an hour. I live in Queen Anne. I have a view of Elliott Bay. I have people who love me, not because of my last name, because of who I am, what I've done, what I stand for. My father stepped down as managing partner. The firm is restructuring, I heard through my mother's voicemail. I didn't call back. The Washington State Bar is still investigating the conflict disclosure delay. I don't know what will happen. It's not my problem anymore. My mother's voicemail said, "You were right, about all of it." She was right. I was. But here's the thing they'll never understand. I didn't win because I destroyed them. I won because I built something they couldn't touch. Credentials they couldn't give or take away. A career based on competence, not connections. A life based on integrity, not inheritance. They threw me out for choosing nursing over law. In the end, it wasn't law that exposed them. It was the part of me they called a disgrace. My name is Stella Baldwin. I'm 24 years old. I'm a registered nurse, ICU, critical care, legal consultant, expert witness, and I earned every single word of that. They said I'd crawl back. I never did. They said I'd fail. I didn't. They said nursing was for people who couldn't get into law school. Turns out, nursing was for people who wanted to save lives instead of protecting frauds. I chose truth. I chose nursing. I chose myself, and I'd do it again, every single time.